Hello everyone and welcome to the first podcast of this channel. In today's episode, I invited Meagan, who is a holistic healing practitioner. She helps people overcome their mental issues such as food allergies, compulsive eating habits, low motivation, or feeling disconnected from their selves by using timeline therapy, NLP techniques, and hypnotherapy. Please enjoy watching or listening to this episode and leave your comments below. Welcome everyone to our podcast. Today I've got a guest, Meagan, who is a timeline practitioner, a hypnotherapist, and also an NLP practitioner. Hi Meagan.
Hi Catherine, so nice to be here.
Nice to see you as a guest here, and thank you for accepting my invitation. As this podcast aims to invite people who are somehow connected to the topic of psychology, and you are a person who is working in this area as well, however, not being a psychologist, but working with similar methods as psychologists do. I think I would be interested to ask you a bit more questions today about methods of work, what makes your work different, and how you personally help your clients in terms of achieving their aims.
What you mentioned before was, so it's called timeline therapy and hypnotherapy. So what the work is essentially is actually accessing the person's unconscious, because that's where all of our programming lies. So everything that we do, it's based on what the program says in that level on the unconscious. So what I do in timeline therapy, for example, is going back into the past memory or the moment, and I would work on releasing negative emotions. So for example, anger, sadness, fear. So I would go back into that and allowing a client to go back into their idea of where, or their unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind finds where it is, and then we work through finding the positive learning. So I allow the client to find what that learning is in that moment, because a lot of the time when the emotion is stuck in that place, it's because that person hasn't found, or they haven't made that connection as to why that event happened. And a lot of the learning process is actually understanding that all of these things are happening to benefit us, even though at the time it might not feel like it. But overall, it is bringing us closer to the truth of who we really are. So in the timeline therapy process, it's releasing the emotions by finding out what the positive learning is. So for example, it could be feelings like, oh, I felt fear in this moment, maybe when I was 3 years old, and then in this situation, this happened. But actually the learning that I had was, maybe, for example, it could be if they've learned that they're brave, they are strong, they're courageous, and they know that they can bring this resource to their younger self. So I would create this safe space and allow them to feel into the emotion, because that's the other thing. Even for myself, I've noticed that I'm dissociated with my emotions, so I had to learn to reconnect and be more associated into how I feel when things happen, when there's moments in my life, and really become more deeply aware of it, which is something that I find myself doing now because I have this understanding. So once the client can release that emotion, a lot of it can be however they want to release it. Could be crying, it could be other ways. So once they release it and then they come back to this moment now, it's like an immediate change. And that's what timeline therapy is. It's releasing that emotion and connecting the learnings there. So I can't say, oh, this is your learning. I can't tell you because you reject it, because you haven't made that connection in your brain. You haven't made that connection. So it's like allowing my client to make that connection themselves, where I would ask them questions that would lead them, that would guide them towards that learning. And also I work with limiting beliefs. So for example, you might think that, oh, I'm not very good at public speaking, or I'm just not good at talking to other people in like a public environment. I don't believe I'm good enough to be in a relationship, all of these limiting beliefs. So we can also work on that to find out what the root cause is, because the root cause is where it started, and it's based on whatever the client feels or can access in their unconscious level. So yeah, and hypnotherapy is also similar in a different way. So yeah.
So do you combine these techniques, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and NLP all together and create something unique in your, let's call them therapy sessions with your clients? Or do you use different tools for different clients?
So another thing, what I've been trained in is actually like what I do is not really called therapy. So I'm not allowed to be saying that it's therapy. So it's I'm a holistic healing practitioner, and the sessions, especially the 5-week sessions or the 3-month sessions that I have, we would use a combination of those modalities and as well as other types of techniques. So for example, once we clear everything, or we clear a lot of those negative emotions, limiting beliefs, what we do next is actually create goals, future goals that you want, and the idea of your future goals back into your unconscious. So really feeling and seeing and hearing this version of yourself that has the things that you want, has the life that you want. And then when I have my sessions, in between the sessions, I would give the client some tasks, so then they can be fully accountable for creating their reality, because I can't do everything. I'm not here to wave the magic wand. I can guide the client, so and also allowing the client to understand and believe that they are fully at cause for their life. Everything that goes on in their life is up to them, because I can't be there all the time. I can be there to guide, and then we would work on this together, and in the end, at the end of the day, it is the client that does the work actually.
Thank you for the explanation, that very clear explanation. Do I get you right here that your sessions, that your method is a combination of counseling and coaching sessions?
I would say, I don't know about counseling. I would say, because I don't have training in counseling. So in terms of coaching, I will be doing like a coaching program. So that's related to what I've already been trained in. So after that, I will be able to call myself a coach. So the coaching part, from what I understand, is the accountability and the goals. So the goal setting and accountability part is the coaching, and then that can happen after we clear all of the things, all of the past issues and limiting beliefs. So it is a combination. Yeah. So I don't know about counseling though. Yeah. Not my area. Yeah.
And then what do you think makes the difference between therapy sessions and then holistic healing sessions?
I personally don't actually know much about therapy. Like I don't think I'm the person to be talking about what therapy is and what it does, because personally I haven't actually gone into that area. So with my holistic healing sessions, it's going into like the whole, like a bigger picture of going back to understanding that you are the power. So you are the one that has full control, and we're here to work together and kind of create the new pathway in your brain to see outside of the problem that you're having, and allowing the client to make the connection themselves. So I think that's really important, because maybe, I don't know, can't say about what they do in therapy. So for how I can only speak for how I do it. So how I do it is allowing them to make the connection. So a lot of the time when I could suggest something to someone, and then they might think, because their model of the world is not the same as my model of the world. Their beliefs are not the same as my beliefs. So it's working with them, working with how they see. Maybe they see that safety comes with God. Maybe that's their word, and then I would use that in the sessions to make that connection with God as a safety, as a person that they feel safe with, and then they can connect to love. Yeah.
Thank you, Meagan. And what scope of problems do you normally work with? What problems is the holistic healing program able to help a person with?
So at the moment, I specialize in helping people manage emotions around food allergies, as well as weight loss. So in terms of the scope, it's I would say little things like unhelpful habits, maybe stopping smoking. It's actually a really big kind of range. So in terms of very serious like health conditions, I would definitely encourage the client to go and see their doctor as well as seeing me, because what I am is like a complementary therapy session, complementary assistance and healing session. So it's not like a main, I don't think it will be ecological to say that, I can heal everything, and I'm not in that position to do that. So definitely go and see a professional, especially if you are experiencing serious health issues. So for me, my main thing is managing the emotions and the beliefs about yourself. So that's what I definitely can say.
And it's just a personal question now. How have you made the decision to switch your career path to be a holistic healing practitioner? What did you take into accountability while choosing which exactly practices you're going to be using in your sessions? Like you've trained yourself in timeline therapy, in NLP, and also in Krasner's method of hypnotherapy. So how have you come up with the decision of choosing these three methods?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So the journey has been, I don't know, there's so much that has happened. So what I can remember is that I was transitioning out of my previous job in China. So I was working and living in China for 5 years. And then for a long time, I knew I wanted to have my own business. So I was researching, and I have received some coaching. So when I was receiving coaching in the group, there were other coaches, and I've heard of the idea of NLP, and it was at first when I was receiving the coaching, I was so confused. I'm like, I don't know I don't really know if I understand this. So I think the fact that I was in that group and being exposed to all of these different energies and people, I slowly understood or got the idea of being a coach, the idea of helping others in this way slowly kind of grew on me. And I was looking at different options for what I could do when I went back to Australia. So one of the things was finding training in coaching. So I had no idea what timeline therapy was. I had no idea I've heard of hypnotherapy, but it was actually the package that was offered, like the NLP the NLP training and timeline therapy was part of the, it's called, it was called the Holistic Healing Practitioner course, I think. So that was the first one. And then I continued, I did the master level, like the master practitioner course, which was much more in depth. So it was I think I chose based on the trainer and the vibe of the trainer, and she was based in my city, so I felt like the timing was also perfect because I just came back to Australia, and it just worked out with timing. And as I went into the training, I learned, I actually healed myself as well in that process. So I healed myself in the process, and I knew that I wanted to make this my full-time business. It was everything just really worked out in that sense. And it's been a collection of different things, I think, leading up to it. I have thought, like, it would be so good if I did this earlier, like maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago. However, I feel like everything happens at the right time.
Yeah, that's true. We're coming to the decisions. We're actually ready. We are mature enough to accept that new experience into our lives. But hypnotherapy is something that is slightly different from NLP and from the timeline therapy. And that makes your experience even more vivid, even more interesting to explore. So how did you manage to get that decision to learn hypnotherapy? Were there any problems that you couldn't cover for your clients through timeline therapy or through NLP that you decided to obtain that hypnotherapy certification as well, or was it some personal decision?
It was actually, the certification was actually part of the course, so it was provided as a bonus. So it was something that I just did because it was already provided, it was included. So I found myself, when I was learning, I found that I really felt that it was natural for me to do this, to do it on someone and to learn how to do it. So and it is more of it also works on the unconscious, and it creates that picture and the sounds, the smells, or the feelings. Especially the feelings are really important of who you want to be, because a lot of the time people focus on their problems. They say, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that, or I'm always like this, I don't feel good, I feel worthless or something. So creating the image and the feeling of who you want to be, and really anchoring that with the colors and the place, it creates that really powerful effect on the unconscious mind. So I feel like I think this modality is it's something that I can say and people get. So I think this is it's a good way to kind of introduce people into my sessions. And sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. There was something else.
Never mind. And do you think there are some restrictions in terms of who is allowed to enter your sessions or who is not allowed to?
Okay, yes, I remember now. Okay, so a lot of how, I think, well, for me, from the experience that I've had, that people who get a very good result are the ones who are very open to believing that this would work for them, that it could work and it could help them. So a lot of people who do approach me for hypnotherapy, they do have that belief in them already. They're not, there are people who don't believe in it. They're like, oh, skeptical or something. So those kinds of people wouldn't come and approach me and work with me anyway. So normally people who have that belief, or they have this idea that, oh, hypnotherapy could work for me and it could help me, then it makes everything a lot easier and the results will show.
Yeah, I totally agree because I took your session myself. Yeah, and the request that I was entering your hypnotherapy session with, it was compulsive eating habits. And I was so much astonished how well that was working afterwards, like right after the session that we finished with each other. I just switched my brain completely to not wanting to eat more than I just want, essentially. And also not having any desire to eat any unhealthy product, because do you remember I was saying that I want to switch to healthier products? During our hypnotherapy session, that was the key thing, actually. So, and it's been more than a month now, but I feel my biological senses, and I do not eat anything unhealthy, or if I do eat, the immediate reaction of my body is that I become feeling sick, like my body doesn't accept that type of food. And I just get satisfaction from healthy products now without any type of overeating. I am so amazed by the work that you are doing, really.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing, especially that it's been a month and this is how things have changed on such a deep level. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
And there was just one session. I wonder what result people are getting by having the 5-session package. I think it's even more astonishing.
Yes, it is. I've completely changed. So, yeah.
How does this work? This timeline therapy alongside with NLP and hypnotherapy has helped you personally?
Yeah, so I think, I would say that it's helped me in terms of releasing the negative emotions that have been holding me back. So a lot of it is the emotions and the limiting beliefs. So for me, I worked on releasing things that happened in the past where I could still feel that connection. I could still feel that kind of, you would say maybe like a victim state that a lot of people are in. And so switching that into your power, moving into your power, and knowing that things happen, like things that happened in the past, they've happened and they were there for me to learn something, to gain that knowledge that I can use, and being okay with at that moment, maybe I didn't get what I needed, and actually being able to have that power to and the knowledge and the tools to go back and give that to myself. So that really affected me, that changed me, and as well as the limiting beliefs around business, that I also worked on that. I had to work on that in order to be in this energy of where I am now. So I found that really getting straight into it, and after I've learned it, I'll start to implement it and work on myself. Like I was like, no, I'm going to do the work, and it's something that I know has worked. I can feel through the sessions that when they were doing the timeline therapy on me, things did shift, and I felt it. So I just love that it goes on such a deep level, and it was so effective on me. And over all these years, I have tried different. I went on like a spiritual journey, and it was really nice in that sense. I learned a lot of things about like the connection with me and the universe. But in this particular thing that I've learned with all of these modalities, and it's like, I feel like it's the secret. It's like, this is the secret of life. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, I originally come from Russia, and we've got a joke there. Like the words to study and to heal, they sound pretty much similar with each other. And when it comes to psychologists, there is a joke that they wanted to go to study, but they mixed up the door and they entered the door, I want to heal instead. So I feel like even though you are not a psychologist, but you are a person who is mental health related as well. It's inevitable that when you want to help other people to heal, it's inevitable that you do it for yourself first.
Yes,
you heal yourself first.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So because I think the fact that like when you do heal yourself, your vibration, your consciousness level changes. So that's how you can attract people into your energy field. Because if you don't do that, people will see that, they'll feel that, oh, this person, I don't quite connect, I don't feel drawn to them, then it's not really going to be as effective. Yeah.
My last question would be about which type of clients are you accepting? So do you work with clients who are based anywhere in the world, or are you limited to some particular locations?
Yeah, so I can work with anyone in the world as long as their first language is English. So I have tried actually working with some people from China, and I've noticed that even though their English is good, I feel like it would be much more effective if I could speak their native language. So if my native language is English, so my first language is English, and I only do the sessions in English. So if the other person can speak English and it's their native language, it really hits them deeper. Like it's more effective, because if it's your second language, you have to translate it, and it's like it's not really the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, unless your English proficiency is quite high. Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be very close to native level, I would say, where you don't have to, like, it really goes straight into your programming, because normally your programming is like your first language, I would say. Yeah. Thank
you so much for having that interesting conversation today. And I was so much curious about learning what timeline therapy is and how you connect timeline therapy with NLP and hypnotherapy as well. And I bet that other people who are going to be watching or listening to this podcast are going to be interested in learning what it is like, the wonderful journey of timeline therapy with Meagan Tang.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I love this conversation.
Thank you, Meagan.
Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I hope you've liked it. If you have any questions left, please hit a comment below, and please subscribe to my channel. See you in my next videos.